What's up, loose cannons? I don't know why it froze like that on my face. You're watching the loose cannons. I'm Sammer. All my boys Poppy Latte and Stanker, and we are hanging out with Luke Easterling of the Draft Wire because the Bucs just completed the 2022 NFL Draft. The three of us don't know shit about the draft because we threw that shit all in the fucking trash when we hired BA. But Luke, you do it for a fucking living. Welcome back to the show, man. We need you to school us tonight and the people watching.
Hey, I'm happy to do it, man. Glad to be back.
Awesome. All right, Luke,
What's up, Luke? Finally, nice to finally meet you.
I know. Here it is. Here it is. The timelines have converged. God knows what happens after this. We're
bro.
playing with fire here.
It's like pulling teeth, bro.
Since we're both old school Bucs fans, and we both have profile pictures where we're
Don't
children.
compare yourself to Luke.
Hey,
bro.
excuse
You're
me.
not the same.
Excuse me. Let me
You're
finish.
not the same.
We're the same.
Don't do that.
No.
You know, maybe we'll go back to our what was it, 14 days?
No.
Why would you say
I
that?
speak against that.
I don't know.
You're
I'm
so
just saying.
dumb.
You never know what's gonna
It's
happen.
just so bad. Why? What?
never know.
We have Tom
You
Brady's
never
talking
know.
about 014. What the fuck is this?
Not this year, obviously.
What?
No, never again. We're never going back there.
Okay.
Stank,
I hope you're right.
I haven't muted you in a few months, and I'm like,
put him in jail.
That's a
now,
lie.
dude.
That's
Put
a
his
lie.
ass in fucking jail.
You mute me every show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Luke, check it out, man. The Bucs finally got their draft choice in the second day of the draft. Apparently, they got the guy they wanted the entire time. They gained some picks doing it. What do we, as Bucs fans, need to know about Logan Hall? Let's go.
Well, first of all, I mean, I didn't ask them to trade out of the first round, but I would have, because doing the whole double duty draft wire Bucs wire thing gets a little hairy when the Bucs go on the clock. So the whole time I was actually talking to TJ Reeves like a couple days before the draft, and he was like, "Man, I really hope that we don't like do the whole, Bucs radio fan thing for like 3 hours and then they trade out of the first round." I was like, that's exactly what I want. I want that so badly, because as soon as they trade out, I can just check. Like, I don't have to do that tonight. I can do Bucs stuff like late, for tomorrow, and that's great. And then I can focus on it. It was perfect. As soon as they went on the clock, they traded out, and I was like, yes, I get to go to bed at like 2:30 instead of 4 tonight. This is going to be great. But no, man, Logan Hall, he's exactly who I thought they wanted by the end of it. Going into the draft, at that point, I felt like he was the guy. So for them to move back and get a 4 and a 6 and still get the guy I thought they would probably take if they were sitting at, go back to what was it, 18 with Vita, right? They would have taken Vita at 7, but they dropped back. They got 2 2s and they got him anyway. It's not that type of deal because it wasn't the same picks, and I don't think he's the same player, but they got the guy they wanted at the position they needed the most, in my opinion, the type of player they needed. Again, 6'6", 285. So he's got room for bulk too. He can get up to 300 with that frame. He's got the long arms. He's quick. He's explosive. He's already got some pass rush moves, but he's exciting enough as a player now, but he really isn't close to what he can become, I think. I've heard a lot of people throw around the whole like souped up Will Golston comp. And like, I don't think that, like, people hear Will Golston, they'd be like, oh, number 33 pick on Will Golston. Like, Will Golston's been a 10-year starter. And if there's a better, like more athletic, more explosive, higher upside version of that, like sign me up for that all day in the second round. So I think now it just depends on, obviously what do they want to do with Sue? Is he going to come back or not? Is he going to, are you going to need Hall to be a full-time starter there? Or are you going to be rotational? We'll see. But I love the player. I love the fit. I like the value. He was 29 overall on my board. You get him at 33. You get a couple picks that, again, you didn't have a 5 or a 6. So you drop back and you get a 4 and a 6. And you still get the guy you wanted. So I love it.
Yeah, Cali Bucks in the chat. Logan Hall better impressed because Sue could have played again. I'm confused as to how it's exclusive. Like, you either draft Logan or you keep Sue. You can still bring Sue back. Mm-hmm. Like, and if he doesn't come back, like at some point you got to get younger there.
Right, and that's why you renegotiated Brady. They didn't clear $9 million in cap space just to let it sit there. So Gronk and Sue, I feel like, are still very much in the mix. And yeah, it's not either or. I think Pinion with the same thing. They draft a punter so they can cut Pinion so they can save $3 million and not have to worry about that. It's there are more moves to be made. And again, now it doesn't count against the comp picks too, because I think we're set up to get at least a 5th next year with the way things evened out. So no, I think some guys will be back that aren't back yet. And Sue obviously makes sense. I just think that's what that might play into it, is like, hey, do we want him to like jump right in as a starter? Or do we want to still have Sue there as a locker room guy and as a leader and as the guy in the starting lineup we can count on, and bring him along kind of like they did with JTS last year, where he doesn't have to be like right away you're starting every play, but eventually you start to see like, oh, this is the guy and he should probably be on the field instead of JPP. That probably ends up happening if Sue comes back this year.
Sue's the, I mean, Sue's
speaking
the
of
ultimate.
JPP is
Wow, really? Wow.
well, you know what I was talking to?
I was talking first. I was just going to add, Sue's the guy to help Logan along, I feel like.
Exactly.
If there's a player that's going to help him along and kind of get him acclimated and learn the position from, that's the guy you want there. And like Latte said, it's not exclusive. It's not one or the other. And I don't know if you mentioned the possibility of JPP coming back, but number 90 is Logan's number. So JPP, I'm pretty sure that ship has sailed. If he does want to play, I don't think it's going to be for the Bucs as much as we love him. I don't know if he's going to be playing because they quickly gave that 90 to Logan. So
yeah, I saw somebody mention that somebody tweeted and responded to something I said that was basically like JPP will be this era's version of Hardy Nickerson, like the guy that kind of came ahead of the turnaround maybe by a year or two and really started to change the culture, really started to be like, hell no, this isn't the way we're going to do things. We're going to do things this way in the locker room. And then was here for the tail end of like, you know, obviously the culmination of that, like kind of like Hardy was when they finally made the playoffs and they started to turn things around. And I love that comparison because again, I don't think he comes back. I think that ship has sailed, but man, JPP, thanks for everything, man. Thanks for writing that ship and setting that standard really before Tom Brady got here and really starting to turn things around.
You're right. That is a great comparison. Except the only difference is JPP got the ring and Hardy didn't.
Exactly. I think it was a bit much to ask back in '97, but
yeah, a little
bit.
I think he was a better player.
Callie keeps coming off the top rope here. I don't know if he's trolling. So this is the last time I'm going to address it, but he's just, you see what I mean about Bucs fans not being happy, Luke?
Hey,
now he's complaining because we passed on punt god and we drafted Camadera, whatever the kid from.
We can go there. You want to talk? About that?
I would love for you to go there because you listen. And Stank knows about this. We all know, right? You know, if you're long but skinny, it doesn't make a difference, right? Like you have to have some girth. If you punt far but you have no hang time, it doesn't fucking matter. You can punt 80 yards.
By the way, the punt god can't snap either. By the way.
Fuck, man. People are just dense. Go ahead, Luke. Sorry.
What's crazy to me,
or not snap, but hold.
Is that these people think they know more than these guys who work in these front offices? There's another team who also picked another punter over punt god. What he does in college doesn't necessarily mean he's going to do the same thing in the NFL. Doesn't mean he translates.
It's not even what he does in college.
He
punts far, but he has no hang time.
And that's the difference. In the NFL, you need hang time. It's a totally different game. Go ahead, Luke.
Well, I mean, you guys hit on a lot of it, but based on what I'm not much of a sources guy. Like I don't have a ton of like people all across the front offices and stuff like that. But the few people I know, when that started happening, obviously when leading up to the draft, everybody was like, oh, you got to take punt guy, and I was like, I don't know. I got a couple people who tell me that he might not be the first punter off the board, and sure enough, he wasn't. And Stout was the guy I expect to be the other guy. I didn't necessarily expect Camarda to go ahead of him, but honestly, part of that was just because of the legend. Like I felt like he had built up such a highlight reel presence, right? Like he was the guy that, man, two punters can't go ahead of him, right? But they did, and that's just the thing, man. It being a successful punter, obviously at the highest level, is about how it impacts the team as a whole. So you can make highlight reels all day long, kicking the ball 80 yards. But Latte, like you said, if you're out kicking your coverage every time, you're actually a detriment to your coverage team. Mm-hmm. You're not doing them any favors by kicking it farther so they have less time and more distance to cover to get down there. If you catch the ball at the 20, but I have a guy waiting on you, you can't go anywhere. You have to fair catch. If you catch the ball at the 10 or the 8, but nobody's around you for a mile, you don't have to fair catch it. You catch it and you can get to the 25. Like it's about more than that. You have to have some finesse to play that position. And go back to the reason we're having this conversation in the first place. It's not because Pinion's leg is necessarily not strong enough. It's that he has struggled to put the ball where it needs to go when it needs to go there. And that's the name of the game. It's not just flipping the field with distance. It's directional kicking. It's situational kicking. And again, and Stank brought it up, the holding, everything that goes into being that job, that every roster spot is precious, man. It's just like if you have a guy that can't play special teams, you're not going to make the team unless you're really, really good at that one thing you do. And yeah, you can have a punter who's really good at punting, but if he can't hold and if he can't situationally kick and do all those things, you got to opt for the guy that does. And I'll leave this conversation with one thing. my guys at USA Today did a bunch of interviews with the draft prospects, and they sat down with Jordan Davis from Georgia, and they asked him, like, is there anybody in this draft that you feel like having gone against them, having played with them in practice, whatever, who is the one guy in this draft that you think is going to be like a real problem at the next level, going to be like a weapon, And he said Jake Camarda.
That's a defensive tackle giving a punter some love.
So Jordan Davis thinks that guy's going to be a problem. That's good enough for me, mostly because I don't want Jordan Davis to know that I disagreed with him, because if he shows up at my door, I'm just going to cry. He's way too big to be faster than I am.
But Luke, you got all these YouTube scouts out there, and I'm sure they have years of experience in scouting punters through YouTube. So are you going to go against their opinion?
Yeah, they're saying, Luke, you do realize that most likely you're punting from your own 40 or 20, so you need to punt it far.
Dude, listen.
I think the guy who punted at Georgia, who punted in national championship games and SEC champion, I think that guy knows that. I think it doesn't matter if I know it. I think that guy knows what he's doing. And also, again, not to tout the company line here, because if the Bucs were sucking at developing players, if they were being really bad at drafting, I would be the first one to rip their asses. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that things are great when they're not.
We're big on ripping asses here on
but
huge
I
ass
mean,
rippers here, bro. We are
if Jason Light thinks this guy is a punter that can do the job in the fourth round. And again, part of it is I look at it as a whole. When the pick was made, you can go look at my Twitter. I was not happy. I don't want a punter in the fourth round. But part of that is because of what was still on the board and what I still felt like they needed. So guess what? When they traded into the fifth and took Zion McCollum, who I would have taken in the fourth, I would have taken him at 106. I would have taken him at 133. Might have taken him at 91 instead. I mean, he was the top 60. I'd have to go back and look at where he was on my board, like 60, 70 guy on my board overall. And again, when you look at everything, look at the numbers, look at the production, the athleticism, all of that, you're like, how does this guy get to the fifth round? But him and Tariq Woolen, the other corner from UTSA who went to the Seahawks about a few picks before they traded up, like, you're getting that guy in the fifth. Now I'm a little more okay with a punter. So it's a holistic. You got to look at it all together, because I was with everybody when they picked a punter in the fourth round. I was like, you've got to be kidding me! Like, come on, this.
But there was a punter run, Luke.
There was a punter run.
You got to get your
guy. There was a
punter
punter. You got to get the leg you want.
I'm gonna explain it for the chat. I'm gonna explain the chat in terms they'll get it a little more, Luke. It's kind of like Stank out kicking his coverage with his wife. You know what I'm saying? You can't out kick your coverage, man. You got to be careful.
Yeah, but you know what? Just like Spytech said, bro, I got easy leg, bro. That shit's just natural.
Easy power.
Easy power. Easy
effortless.
Leg. Yeah, you've seen me barefoot, bro. Just follow my feet up to the thigh. Easy.
I think it was Scott that brought it up too.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
No,
I don't really want to do that.
Luke,
That's
cool.
The invitation's
somebody
there.
Brought it up.
You can follow him all the way up that thigh. You're not going to come across any
find
speed
anything
bumps
at all.
There's no speed bumps.
Nope.
Sure.
You think I'm Ken
just keep on going.
You call me a Ken. You call me a Ken doll.
Hairless cat.
I'll get to the shoulder and I'll be like, man, did I miss? Where? I missed an exit.
Might want to. No. Hey, so go ahead.
But
we went second round. We went fourth round. Where do we want to go now?
I was going to ask you. I was going to rewind it. I was going to rewind it just a little bit. I was going to say I saw multiple former NFL players who were punters and field goal kickers who said that they thought the punter that we ended up with was the best punter in the actual draft, and that he had NFL written all over him, and they saw it coming from his college time. So, again, I like to let my plumber do the plumbing when he comes to my house, and in this case, I will let the NFL employees on actual teams do their fucking job. I don't know any better. I don't know. Like, you come to me, ask me a Photoshop question.
When people sit in my fucking barber chair and they start fucking don't tell me how to do my fucking job. Just shut the fuck up. Let me finish the haircut.
One last note on Camarda. 4.5, 40-yard
you
dash.
took my fucking. I was gonna say that.
Skill, dude.
Hey,
you know what that means?
Give me those fake punts.
Fake punts, baby. Yes,
that's a wrinkle, Luke. That's a wrinkle. He's a holder too for field goals. I'm telling you, not just fake punts.
We have been missing that wrinkle in our offense, and now we have it. I mean, dude, 60 points a fucking game, Luke. I see it, man. I want to rewind just one more time again to Logan. I was going to ask you, what was your grade for that pick at 33 for our team?
You said great value.
B plus. I try to be really, really like stingy with my A grades. You got to get like you get Kyle Hamilton at 14 when he was number 1 on my board. You get an A for that. Like, you get Jermaine Johnson, who's number 6 at 26. That's an A for me. Like those rare, like I save him for those like, holy shit, how did that guy still end up on the board? Hall just was the right fit at the right. You checked every box. He wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe he's on the board. But he was, again, 29 on my board. 33 is where they got him. Biggest need, perfect fit, exactly the type of player they need. Athletic, high upside guy who's not boring. He's got a ton of, excitement to him as a player, in my opinion. So again, B plus only because I save those A grades for like really rare, like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy fell.
Like a fourth round punter who's basically a backup running back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Speaking of that, you said that.
I set you up. I set you up, Latte. You know it.
Hey, the blood started pumping. The blood started pumping in the lower areas. Everyone that watches this show knows that I have a position. Oh, I have a position.
Yeah, he's got tight.
That position.
He got tight.
Oh, man, I love running backs.
Your go-to
running
position.
backs is
you
the
always
thing that he likes.
You love
As Mike
that
Mayock
position.
used to say, I used to love listening to Mike Mayock at the combine. Look at this bubble butt, fucking explosive. Hey, we got a guy, and I want your opinion, bro. A lot of draft pundits said maybe the best pass catching back in the draft. I saw him, and I kept trying to put a name to it, a comparison, Luke, and I don't know why. Call me crazy, but with the patience, we haven't had a runner like that here. He's super patient. He cuts back. He doesn't slam into the back of his lineman. Reminds me of Le'Veon Bell a little bit, the way he runs the route, bro. It's kind of creepy. Did he win in the fourth round? Was it fourth or third? Fucking crazy. I'm just saying.
I said Matt Forte, but
no, you're
I like the Forte too. I like that too.
Le'Veon written all over him, dude. Mini Le'Veon.
I haven't heard the Forte one, but I like that too. It's the same high cut, high pad level, but just like effortless, smooth. You don't understand how fast he's going because he doesn't look like he's trying very hard. Like he's not having to expend a lot of effort and the long strides and all that. But again, the vision, the patience, you said it all. And again, we talk about this all the time about the difference between guys who are great athletes and guys who are great football players. And it's the difference between, and it's something I learned as a draft guy, as an evaluator. Like I'm always trying to pick and choose. I learned from Mike Evans, first of all, like back in 2014, I was lower on him than I should have been because he didn't run a ton of different routes at Texas A&M, right? He would basically, hey, you're a basketball player. You can jump over everybody, run deep. You're fast. You're big. We'll throw it up to you. He didn't have that, diverse route tree or whatever. And, my nerd self at the time, like, oh, mark him down because he doesn't run a diverse route tree. Like, too bad. He's a dominant force. You don't have to, and you can teach him that stuff. So you learn from that. And what I learned this time around with guys like the difference between O.J. Howard, who was a top 5 player on my board that year because there was nothing wrong with him. He was huge. He was athletic. He could block. He could catch. He didn't have an injury history at all at that point. He was super clean prospect, right? And I was like, how can this guy fail? Obviously the injuries come into it, but one thing I wasn't serious enough is about how natural he was just catching the football. Like, just how does it look like you have to try really hard and really focus just to catch the simplest passes? And that's OJ was always, that was the thing, even when he was healthy. Phenomenal athlete, but it looked like he had to work so hard mentally and physically to get that to connect, to catch the football. And when Kyle Pitts came along, and the reason I was comfortable putting Kyle Pitts as high as I did, I think he was number 2 overall last year, is because that was not the case. He had everything OJ had, a little slimmer, obviously, but he caught the ball like a wide receiver. He caught the ball like if you woke him up at 3 a.m., he could go out there and catch it like nobody's business. And that's when I watched Rachaad White catch the football. He catches it like Kyle Pitts does. He didn't catch it like O.J. Howard does. And again, not knocking O.J. I love you. You're the man. Hope you do great in Buffalo. But like,
I'm gonna knock an old guy that used to be on here. I used to argue with Stank about it all the time, and other people on Twitter. And I still stand by it. I heard it every fucking offseason, Luke. Rojo looks great catching the ball. He's catching the ball, and I'm like, it looks stiff. He looks.
Who said Rojo? I never ever said Rojo.
He looks like super
good catching the ball.
Like forced. It just didn't look natural. I don't care if he was catching it. It just looked off.
It's the complete opposite of White. I think the thing with Rachaad, it'll come down to pass pro, right? You got to teach this guys to pass pro. There's like 5 programs in college football that actually like teach their running backs how to protect the passer in an NFL level way. Obviously Alabama, there's a few places that do it, but most, I think NFL teams have done a really good job of being like, they're not teaching most of them. So we'll just not hold that against them and teach it to them ourselves if they can do everything else well. And I think that's what Rashad will do. He'll catch the ball really well to start with. I think he's a really good running back, and I think he's a really good runner between the tackles. I think he's really patient. Obviously, he does his best work out in space, but I think he's going to have a really big role in this offense catching the football because he's really, really good at it. But I like his upside as a full-time 3-down back, man.
I agree.
You see his interview with Romy? He said he's coming to take the starting job.
I love it, right?
I like that too.
You got to have that confidence, right?
You know what that is? That's loose cannons. Put your dick on the table. And
it is.
I fucking like it.
I mean,
unlike
why are you coming in if you're not going to even try? I mean, even if you don't get you have to give us that kind of effort. That means you're going to try, you're going to learn, you're going to put forth the time necessary to learn the playbook and eventually become a good pass protecting running back. But you know what? The fact that he doesn't have to do that from the very beginning, and you've got a guy like what do we call him now? Lombardi Lenny. It makes it a little bit easier for him. And eventually I think it becomes a 50-50 type of share. And you never know. I feel pretty comfortable now with, if Lenny misses some time, you slide that guy in there. You still have Gio who can come in there and pass protect and do some things on third down. So you don't have to force the kid to learn too quickly. But, man, when you watch his tape, he looks like Rojo with way more pop and, again, fluid catching of the ball. It doesn't look like he's just trying to claw it out of the fucking air every single time. He doesn't have to look it in every time, basically.
The thing that got me most excited about this pick is it was back in October. My older brother lives in Seattle, and he called me late one night, and he's like, hey, I just got back from the Huskies game. I went to the University of Washington game, and we lost to Arizona State. And I was like, okay, cool. Glad you had a good time. And he's like, no. There's somebody you need to know about. Because this friggin' running back for Arizona State just ran all over him everywhere, catching the ball, running the ball, just couldn't stop him. Big play after big play after big play. So I don't remember I think his name was Rashad White or something, but look him up because he's really, so like that. But going back to October is when, thanks to my brother, I went and found some of his tape and I was like, oh, okay. So when it started to look the last like month or so, like he might be their guy at running back, I was like, man, I really hope they get this guy because I've been on him since October, thanks to a little assist from the family. But yeah, man, I had something and I can't remember what it is now, but there was some sort of, what was it? I lost it. It's gone.
No, it doesn't
whatever.
matter. Speaking of family,
it'll come back.
Look,
Speaking
listen,
of family.
listen. Look. Oh, what you want to go ahead? Can I go ahead? You got it?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Oh, okay. Listen, Luke.
See how nice they are when they step on each other, but when I interrupt,
Shut the fuck up.
I'm evil. I'm an evil person.
Stop
Hey,
talking.
I actually remembered. See, he did that so I could remember what I was going to say.
There you go, bro.
I was going to say that
motherfucker.
when you did I just lose it again?
Oh no, Luke!
I was so good with the setup that I was
have
like,
you on here.
See, I told you me and Luke are related, bro.
You're
What
supposed to
what
be the
happens if you're 30,
professional.
guys?
You're supposed to be the fucking professional, Luke. We don't know
I
shit
got it.
about this
I got
stuff.
it. Listen.
Come on.
See, I am, and then I show up on this show, and I'm just like, I can just chill, and that's what it
Don't
bites
let
me in the ass.
Nothing
Bites me in the
professional
ass.
about this show at all.
Terrible.
Listen, Luke. Listen, Jace, Gabagool, our boy. He does it again, Luke. He does it again. What does Jason Light do? He finds fucking small school offensive linemen or offensive linemen that are undersized tackles, very athletic, not going to play tackle in the NFL, but still athletic. You kick them inside that are just glass-eating, nasty fucking long, just nasty motherfuckers. I'm excited about this kid. When I saw the pick, I was like, what the fuck? And then they turned on the highlight tape and I said, whoa, that's a Buccaneer offensive lineman. Because we could talk about all the running backs. We could talk about Mike, and we love Mike here. We could talk about Godwin and Russell Gage and 12, but it starts in the trenches, boys. So I'd love your opinion on Luke Gadecki, the glass-eating badass motherfucker.
Yeah, one of those picks that like
inside.
right away I was kind of confused because I got to Gadecki really late in the process, so I didn't get to see as much of him as a lot of the other guys, and I watched him as a tackle, right? I didn't hear a whole lot of him being a guard. So when I saw him at right tackle, I was like, okay, I graded him that way and didn't think of him as a guard. So when they took him, and of course, obviously he's listed as a tackle, everybody's saying he's taking the tackle. I'm like, I know Donnie's had his moments, but like, damn, that's a little rough. And then the more you start to think about it, and you start to break it down, and obviously you listen to Jason talk about it, you're like, oh, okay, we're thinking guard. And you start to look at it from that set of it. And there are certain people. I try to do, again, what Jason has said he's gotten better at, which is like understand that you can't do everything and you don't know what you don't know, right? So I have to find people in this industry, and Brandon Thorne is a guy that does O-line stuff. That's all he does. He has like a friggin' Substack just for O-line stuff. And if you don't like offensive line play, it's like chewing on a brick and it's boring as hell. But I really like to go there when the Bucs take an offensive lineman because he knows what he's talking about with offensive linemen more than I do. So if he says this guy is really good and this is why, he breaks it down in a really good way. He breaks it down with those players. He's got a great video of him and Gadecki breaking down his own film and talking about scheme and talking about, because that's a lot of the thing that's tough about, I can watch stuff all day long, but I don't know the play calls. I don't know the responsibilities, particularly with offensive line play. It's really, really hard to make it look like, oh, that was his fault or he missed his guy, when in reality it may not be. So it's a really cool thing to watch the guys break down their own film with people who know what they're talking about, because he can be like, oh, this is what was supposed to happen and this is what happened instead and this is why I did this. It's really cool. But anyway, to get back to it, yeah, I mean, the more you learn about the guy, you just listen to him talk. You'd be like, oh, okay, yep, he's the guy. Like that's the fit. And I love
the Jason Light guy. I mean, it just makes
Jason Light special, baby.
Kappa was what I believe so, right? Kappa was a tackle, and we know Ali Marpet was a tackle.
Yep,
it was.
Yep.
It screams Jason Light. By the way, don't want to miss the super chat, Sammer. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Bones is losing confirmed.
You're misinterpreting this.
He pretty much just paid $10 so that we just mute Stank.
Not at all. He says a promise is a promise.
Amazing. Just mute his ass. Yes,
it's out.
Muted. He paid $10, bro. Suck on it. He said, "Shut the fuck up."
$10 to mute him. Listen. Those are my favorite kinds of super chats, honestly. Super chats that make our show better, because that's what's happening. He's making our show better.
Incorrect. Incorrect. He was actually giving me credit. He said my vocabulary.
So anyway, Luke, like I was gonna say, I was gonna add something.
Fuck off.
So good.
The reason I like this pick, Luke, is that he's fucking nasty, like Latte said, but he's nasty and he's gonna be playing next to a guy in fucking red, and that dude is gonna only make him even more of a nasty motherfucker down there. Turn it up. And dude, we kind of need some of that on the inside. We need some of that.
Yeah.
Ali Marpet played angry, don't get me wrong, but he was not a nasty motherfucker like that. You could kind of tell he's still kind of a nice guy. This dude wants to fucking kill you, and having a run game behind that and behind Jensen. And then we also got Tristan Wirfs who wants to kill you. I mean, dude, and then don't forget, we still got Shaq.
Too, bro.
Shaq's a fucking
nasty.
And the thing that I love about this draft, and I said this before the draft pay, the free agents that the Bucs signed allowed them to go in any direction they wanted to at any point in the draft. And then also the draft picks they went with basically build towards the future of the spots that they're going to be weaker in as they get older. It's like a fucking, I mean, come on, dude. Jason Light is just it's scientific at this point for this motherfucker, dude. But
if you look at what they added, where they added it, the types of players they did, and the money they spent, I think this team can be better than the Super Bowl team. Absolutely. Wow. I think they can be better because of the types of, again, and some of it is situational stuff, because look at some of the biggest problems that has happened, even the Super Bowl season for most of that year. Obviously, the defense turned it up down the stretch when they needed to, and that's great. But the biggest problem was what? Communication. Communication is usually a reflection of experience or lack thereof, right? So what did you do? You went and got Keanu Neal, and you went and got Logan Ryan. You got a safety. You got a nickel / safety. You filled with two guys that, again, I feel like that was an indictment of Jordan Whitehead. I feel like that was like Jordan Whitehead was like, man, you're a really great athlete. You're a great hitter. Like, we love some of what you bring to the table. But, like, who's the only guy that they didn't bring? Like, they went and got Carlton and made sure he came back and, like, went and filled that role with veteran players. They could have afforded him. Let's be honest. Like, if they wanted Jordan Whitehead back on the defense, they could have brought him back.
That same money was to Shaq.
They didn't make him an offer.
They didn't make an offer. He said, yeah, absolutely. So I look at those additions, and again, addition by subtraction, the fact that we know JPP was a shell of his self most of the season, trying to play through those injuries. He's so tough, but we knew that Tryon was the guy at that position all year. Like, he was the best player they had for that role, even though he's a rookie, even though he had some mistakes and was learning. So, like, you look at the guys that, now it's their second year. Now he's going to be on the field all the time. And you look at what's coming back and what's added. Now you have a third receiver who's a veteran guy who knows what he's doing, who's not going to run off the field in the middle of the game for whatever reason.
big piece there.
Okay. So, assuming Gronk comes back at some point, and again, go look at the 2 tight ends they drafted. They drafted Cade Otton.
When he comes back.
Right. They drafted Cade Otton to be the Gronk understudy, right? To be the guy that can do everything at a pretty good level and hopefully get that to a high level. And then they went, you want to talk about glass eaters? You went and go.
Oh my God.
O'Keefe.
I love that motherfucker, bro.
In 5 years in
that
Minnesota.
Motherfucker cracks some skulls, bro.
And he is here to be. You guys remember Anthony Auclair, right? Like
yes.
He was only here to block people, and I think O'Keefe makes the team, and only because he can go block anybody. He has a role. He has a spot on the roster because he will do that thing really well. So
hey, Red, go over there and earhole that motherfucker right there.
I'm telling you, man,
That's all you need to do.
This team can be better than the team that won the Super Bowl. I look at what they've added. I look at what they needed and who's coming back and how it should all work together scheme wise. And even just, again, I don't buy into any of that. We've talked about the conspiracy stuff with Bruce and Tom and all that stuff. I don't buy into any of that stuff. What I will say is I do think there will be a after the fact benefit to Todd handling the big picture stuff in the defense and Byron and Tom just being able to do the offense. Lock yourself in the quarterback room and bang that shit out. Like that is what they were, and there won't necessarily be like, okay, at what point do we get Bruce involved and what does he want to see? And it's like, you don't need to worry about that. Todd will be like, the more y'all can do that, the better. I don't want it. Like, I don't even want to have to deal with that. That's great.
You mean the John Gruden approach to head coaching when you have
we showed up here. He's like, Monty, do your fucking thing.
Exactly. I don't even know half the defenders' names. Monty, just you do your thing.
That's not uncommon though. By the way, Belichick's been doing that forever until this year, where he actually doesn't even have a fucking offensive coordinator on staff somehow. He didn't give a fuck what was going on. Whatever McDaniel was doing was fine. He would meet up with the quarterbacks a couple days before, and they would go over what he wants to show them from the defensive film of the opposing team from his mind, because he's probably the best defensive coordinator ever. And then that was it. He didn't fucking care what they did. John Gruden didn't need to care what Monty Kiffin did, and fucking shit, dude. I mean, it happens all across the league.
I got to jump in just one second.
Same thing with the Rams coaching. Go ahead. To defend you, because it's scrolled a little bit up there, but when you made that comment about Ali, Pagan said, "Don't go dissing Ali Marpet." Stammer did not diss Ali Marpet. Like, we wish Ali was still here. We all wish that. He's top 5 player.
It kind of sounded disrespectful to me.
Just mute his ass again.
Dude,
Shut the fuck
He's
up.
one of my favorite players on the team for the last decade, definitely, easily. But I was gonna say, Luke, you touched a little bit on the tight ends. Tell me about this tight end that we got.
We like tight ends.
I love tight ends, dude. I mean, tight end.
Love tight ends.
My second favorite position. You guys know that. You know my favorite position is. All right, let's tell me about the guy we got at 106, Cade Otton. Hopefully I'm saying his name right.
Wow.
Cade
Wow.
Otton.
Sorry, my bad.
Otton.
I ought to know his name better than I just did, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, he's that guy that you're hoping can be the Gronk understudy, which is a guy that can block and did it a lot at Washington and was asked to do that a lot, and can also split out and go catch the ball down the field. Really tall guy, long arms, catches the ball really naturally. Again, I think he's recovering from like ankle surgery or something like that, so he's a little bit, will need maybe some patience through the offseason program. And those Pac-12 guys, they have the weird like school schedule too, so sometimes those guys are still in school. I don't know if if he's still got classes or what, but as a player, man, I liked the fact that they were on to him pretty early. I know they liked Trey McBride from Colorado State. Obviously, he went before they could move up in the second round, and don't know if they would have gone up to get him anyway. Jelani Woods from Virginia was the guy I really wanted, because you're talking about 6'7", 260, 4.5 speed. Like, I was just like, please get me that guy.
I want a McBride.
But the benefit to the pick they made was that I feel like Woods was a way more high risk, high reward, and much more like OJ than I really wanted to admit, just because I was in love with the talent and the athleticism. And what they got is a guy that I think is a much more complete, much more pro-ready player in Otton, who's, again, the exact type of tight end that you want to be able to learn from Gronk how to do all of what it takes to be a tight end, which, again, might be the hardest position to play on offense because of everything you have to do. You have to be able to block as well as an offensive lineman. You've got to be able to catch the ball as well as a wide receiver and do all those things at a high level. So I loved the pick. I knew it was somebody that they were pretty high on, and made perfect sense at that pick.
Luke, he looks like Gronk in a weird way. I don't know if it's just because he wears 87, but he's kind of got that lumbering kind of style to him. He looks like an old school tight end. Definitely not the most athletic guy. Doesn't look like he's running routes like a receiver, but I like it. I like what I saw.
Yeah, but he gets yak, dude. He gets rolling. It's hard to tackle.
Yeah,
that
more
dude.
than I saw some people say
Similar
like,
to
oh, he's
Gronk.
not a yak guy, and I was like, that's not what I saw. I mean, maybe it didn't look like it. Again, long striding, kind of, not super quick, but yeah, I mean, part of that's physicality too. You're carrying people for 4 or 5 yards, like that's still yak.
It's similar
Hey,
to Gronk.
somebody-
When
somebody
Gronk
in
catches the
there-
ball, he just kind of, makes
just-
his way
he
down the
just
field.
ping-pongs off of
yeah,
people,
it
bro.
doesn't
People
make much
bouncing off of him.
sense. But there's a fucking template that we're starting to notice too with Jason is that he's drafting guys. It goes back to last year and the year before that. He's drafting guys to replace somebody eventually in year 2. And we've got our Gronk replacement. We've got the guy who's basically going to
JPP.
replace Sue. We've found the guy who's going to replace JPP. Now that JPP is not ready, he can't be. Hey, we've got.
And you have the guy ready now.
We don't
'cause you
have
got
a
him last
glaring.
year.
We don't have a glaring hole.
Which, by the way, Sammer and I might as well be prophets. We were spot on. He was going to get 8 or 9 sacks if he could just finish them. He finished with 6, and that was in a part-time role. That was fucking insane.
He
Would
would
have
have
had
had
double-digit sacks.
He could have had 4 sacks in that New England game.
He could have.
Yep.
Which is his best game of the year too, and he could have had way more stats. He could have really loaded up that stat sheet, and we'd probably won by a little bit more than what we did. But he just misses. I think that's also year 1 learning. Also, not being able to play as many minutes does fuck you up a little bit. You got to get warm. You got to get into it.
Yep.
Not just the minutes, but they were moving him inside, they were moving outside. They didn't allow him to fucking,
You can't get comfortable.
really comfortable in one position. But Sammers, thanks. Somebody in the chat was talking about Loose Cannon's travel crew to Germany. Are we doing a show next week for the schedule release? And we're gonna maybe
There will
discuss-
be a live show next week on the
schedule.
schedule release date for the NFL, and we're gonna go through
and
it.
where we're going for Loose Cannon's travel, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, we don't know. Maybe Germany.
Should we talk about who's with us this year?
No, I think we should save it, man.
Make them wait. Make them wait.
Make them wait. I like.
Last
that.
year we
Make
had
'em wait.
SMB. This year there's somebody that's
God.
larger than life.
Guess
Have
we-
I ever heard of him?
Not you, probably.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Do I know who this player is?
Not you.
Maybe.
You know, guys, real quick before we go to the phone lines, I have somebody waiting on the phone. We have Taupe Daddy gave us $5 super chat.
You
Thank
know
so
who that
much.
is, right?
That is Tom in Michigan. Yes,
That's
have
Tom in
an
Michigan.
IPA on my peeps. When Nevada correctional facility draft Alvin Kamara? OJ back to stabbing at passes in Buffalo. Hard Knocks in Detroit. Get the fuck out. Tom
I heard that in
delivers
Tom's
via
voice,
chat.
though.
Yeah, I was trying to do it, man. Tom,
Look,
Hey,
look,
Pete.
at, look
Hey,
at Pelagic
Pete.
in the chat. Look at Pelagic in the chat. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
these guys taking all these guesses. Is it Tom Brady?
I don't know.
Is it Vita Vea? I don't know. Mean Machine Worthy.
I don't know, Pelagic.
All right, we're gonna go to the 77 area code or 770 area code. 77 area code, just 2 digits. You're on with the Loose Cannons and our guest.
He has a
Luke
shot.
Easterling.
I'll say that.
What's
Maybe.
up? Corey from Atlanta, of course. Oh, Nashville. God damn.
Whoa.
You
whoa,
sounded-
Whoa,
You
Corey is
sound-
lit.
Sounded a
Well,
little bit like
well, you
Will
know-
Smith when you came in there, bro. Whoa.
You
Do that.
know, I'm from.
Corey,
You know I'm
before you
from
start,
Atlanta.
Corey, I feel like you haven't
Yeah,
been on
what's
since
up,
me and
what's
you
up?
went at it early in the offseason because, we were in our feelings about
Who's
Jason
all
Light
right?
and people leaving. But I just want to say I love you, bro. We're brothers. Brothers argue. It's okay.
Hey, no doubt.
I got a
No
chip
doubt. That's
challenge
why
waiting for
you
you.
can go off on me because we brothers, bro. So, it is what it is. Brothers, sometimes one brother's wrong, but sometimes other brother's right.
I was not wrong. You were having a meltdown on Jason Light. Come on, man.
Am I
No,
gonna have
but hey,
to-
man. Hey,
have
look.
to mute
I
you?
gotta say, listen. It's extremely difficult. And if I'm not mistaken, we went into the draft with 4 picks, right?
6.
So,
6.
it's extremely difficult to have a talented roster, fill all your needs with talented players. Extremely difficult. Jason Light and his staff was masterful this draft, in my opinion. I went back, I watched some film of the players that we drafted, look up some, and look at what we need, what we short on. I'm extremely, 5th round pick or not, I'm extremely excited about Zion because of our defensive back coaches. They clearly know what they're doing. They've turned Carlton Davis, in my opinion, if he can stay healthy, into a Pro Bowl caliber corner. Not Carlton Dean, but
Dean.
Jamel Dean.
Jamel Dean, who we've all watched him. He's probably one of the stiffest corners from a hips perspective and flexibility that you'll see, and he's still to me a really good cornerback. He's a starting cornerback, and he's played well. But he doesn't have nearly the fluidity of Zion. And I'm just excited to see a 6'2" corner on our team that runs a 4-3 with this coaching staff. Thoroughly excited about it.
Corey, didn't I see somewhere he's like the most athletic corner or athletic player?
The most athletic player in the draft. 10 out of 10. He scored a 10 out of 10.
Luke, why does a guy like that? Why did a guy like that fall, Luke? Like
that kind of size, that kind of athleticism.
How does he have all the test scores? How does he have all the measurables? How does he have the film? Everything. Like, what made the guy like that fall? Like, I saw other DBs, former NFL guys, current NFL guys, who are like, how did the Bucs just get possibly the steal of the draft?
Yeah, instincts, ball skills. I mean, the football skills, possibly.
It's pretty much.
Hey, by the way, Corey,
pretty much what Deion been talking about too.
Yeah, let's let Luke Corey tell us though.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to a guy who had him 75th overall, so there wasn't anything to miss for me. I don't know what. Again, 6'2", 200, 4.33 speed, and not just the speed, but look at the cone drills and the shuttles and all that, the short area quickness. Look at the production. 13 picks, 6 forced fumbles, and I think 58 pass breakups at Sam Houston State. I don't care if you're in your backyard playing with your brother. That's a lot of pass breakups. You're making plays. And again, the guy checks all the boxes. I didn't get it. Like I said, I would have taken him easily at 91, 106, or 133. So the fact that they traded into it felt like, honestly, every now and then this happens, right, where the planets align and a player I really, really like that I think would fit really well with something the Bucs need, and they obviously make it clear that they really like him and they make a move. You trade a 4th rounder next year for a 5th rounder next year, you really like the guy, and you make the play. And I was so stoked, man. The last time this happened was in 2012 when I was really hoping that the Bucs would get this maybe linebacker, kind of undersized, safety maybe at the next level. He played at Nebraska. And he was really athletic, and people were worried about him. And, man, when they traded into the bottom of the 2nd round, and I was like, please, for the love of Jesus, let this be for Lavonte David. And it was. I was just I was elated. And obviously that worked out. I'm not trying to put that on Zion as a 5th round pick.
You heard it right now.
Man,
Zion, the next Lavonte David.
Dude can play.
Unbelievable.
Luke Easterling said.
That's high cotton. That's high cotton, bro.
And look at what he can do with that athleticism immediately. You're immediately a gunner. You're immediately making plays on special teams. You have the size, the length to keep your distance from your blockers and move downfield, and you have the right mentality to want to go play special teams and to want to earn your keep. I'm telling you, that kid he's going to be the reason the Bucs have a real tough decision to make when Dean's contract is up and SMB's contract is up next year, and they're going to be like, I don't know, we got a guy who can start, who's going to be making, 5th round money for the next 3 years. We might not have to spend as much money a corner as we think. Again, it's high expectations for a kid, but again, that's a guy that if you look at where guys went versus where I had them ranked, there's a huge gap.
Wake the fuck up, Bolts. Shit.
Did they score again?
Fuck, man. They're playing like ass shit, bro.
We scored. It's 3-1.
They haven't played well.
We scored. Okay. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
They scored. They scored before that, but it's 3-1.
Latte's on his old man shit right now.
You're following the wrong blue. You're following the wrong blue jerseys.
They both wear white and blue. God damn it.
You gotta follow the home colors.
But hey, Corey, on another one, you made a great point, bro. And we talked about this in the offseason. I've talked about this, ad nauseum, Luke, and I'm pretty sure Luke will agree. You talked about the development, bro. Let's talk about that because we don't give this coaching staff credit. Before they got here, Carlton was a good corner. He wasn't what he was.
Yeah,
nobody was desperate to pay him what we paid him. Dean was okay.
Yeah.
Whitehead, people were pissed we lost Whitehead. Whitehead was a hitter, but he wasn't doing what he was doing in this defense until they came along and developed him. Edwards. It's like, I'm excited to see with a guy like that's some nice clay to mold.
This coaching staff has done their job. I mean, let's be honest, man. We can laugh about it and joke about it all at once. Oh, well, he had a Super Bowl ring before he came to us. Shaq Barrett, he was good in Denver, but he came to us and made an immediate. He made an immediate impact, and he's been solid. I mean, it's certain tackles that give him problems. The ram checks and and things like that. And then sometimes now he's so good, teams scheme and they just double team him all game. But I mean, dude was not what he was in Denver.
Corey,
I mean,
I'm gonna hit you with one. I'm gonna hit you
excited.
with one that people may clip it and fucking criticize me. I don't give a shit. Y'all can kick back in your chair like me calling out the wrong fucking score right now. I'm gonna give you one that he was good, but he wasn't what he was until they got here and put him in that Larry Fitzgerald position. Chris Godwin. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Chris Godwin was very good receiver, but he wasn't putting up the numbers and doing what he was doing until they put him in this offense. Sorry, not sorry.
I will agree to that. I will agree with that to an extent, but I still feel that Chris, no matter what, because of his hard work ethic, he will get to a position of success regardless. But I will
maximize his potential.
I will piggyback on what Corey was saying too. Is that, and great call, Corey. Thank you for calling in, man. That the most impact our coaching has had since we brought in BA and Todd Bowles has been on the defensive side of the ball. The development that we drafted a lot of young guys, mostly on defense, leading into that Bruce Arians hiring, and none of those guys had developed. None of them were.
What do you mean? Dirk Cutter's defenses were.
No one was learning how to play ball. They
You're
were
right.
coming in and just doing whatever they were doing and not getting better.
Hold on.
Todd gets here, an immediate impact from almost every young player on defense. Man,
I
the
agree
guys
with
that
all
we
that,
needed
Sammer,
to grow,
but dude,
they
look
grew.
at the O-line development, bro. Kappa wasn't doing. Donovan Smith, people wanted to get him the fuck out of here. All of a sudden, he ascended to this.
I know that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it didn't develop across the entire team, but the most impactful development that we needed was from our youth on the defensive side of the ball, and we saw it almost the first day, dude. Todd Bowles took Jamel Dean, took Carlton. Remember Carlton Davis, dude? People wanted him cut. They said this guy was a bust, was not going to do it. Now we're fucking losing our shit if we weren't going to sign him. Like, just his fucking progress alone is more than enough for me. Todd Bowles and his staff have fucking done wonders with those guys.
Oh, Dean.
Hey, Luke.
I remember, and you brought up Dean, and that's what I was going to say. I remember talking to Jamel about halfway through his rookie year, and he's one of my favorite people to talk to, by the way. He's hilarious. He's so candid when he's not trying to be. Like, he's just telling you, like, did you guys see him tell the story of the Jets game, like trying to get to the game from the airport? Yeah. That was the funniest press conference I've ever seen. That wasn't trying to be. Like, he was just trying to tell everybody what happened, but he's funny as shit.
When he came to our golf hole, he didn't care about anything going on. He's like, where are them wings? I just want to get some chicken. Y'all said something about chicken. Y'all said something about chicken. We're like,
a man after my own stomach.
We need to take a photo first, Jamel. Then we'll get you some wings. Don't worry. Go ahead, Luke.
But that he said when he got here, and again, this is not a guy who came from Humboldt State. This is not a guy who came from Hobart. He played at Auburn. He played in the SEC. And he came to Tampa and said, I didn't know how to watch film until I met Todd Bowles. He's like, I did not understand how to prepare at the level it takes to be successful in the NFL, to be a professional, until I met Todd Bowles. And Todd Bowles taught me how to be a professional, how to watch film critically, how to break down my own strengths and weaknesses. And like he said, once he understood,
it was after the Seattle game, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what happened against Arizona?
Yeah,
what happened the very next week? Because I was at both of those games and usually go to the
receptions.
Yep, absolutely. And again,
look, I think people forget Todd Bowles is a secondary coach. That's what he is.
Safety.
Yeah, safety. So
won a championship as a safety.
Yeah, exactly. You hope to see that improvement, and if he obviously liked Zion, so.
And again, you go back and look at how they drafted, and you can see the fact that Jason has confidence in them. Mm-hmm. Like, I know I can take these guys because I know I'm giving them to coaches who know what they're doing. And again, I got to mention Kevin Ross, cornerbacks coach, and Nick Rapone, the safeties coach. Again, two guys that also, every time we get a chance to talk to those guys, they are phenomenal. They are fantastic with the way they explain things. I remember talking to Nick Rapone once about the concept, because a lot of stuff is draft related for me, and I like to understand the inner workings of how a team goes through that process when you have all these area scouts and national scouts and different executives trying to streamline a process of evaluation for a group of coaches who want to play a certain way. And so I was asking Nick Rapone about how challenging is it to be like, I need a safety for my defense, but I know we also need somebody extra for special teams. And how do you stand on the table for a guy differently based on what he can do on your side of the ball versus what he can give the team on special teams? And he gave me this great detailed answer about what that conversation is like. And I love stuff like that. So clearly they're getting positional coaching that is, again, at the highest level that we're seeing across the league. And I'm glad it's
Luke,
happening here,
some
man.
of-
Luke, you
these-
keep. Go ahead, man.
No, some of these press conferences were refreshing too as well, Luke. I'm sure you watched the position coaches and stuff.
Yep.
Did you watch it in Stank or Sammer?
I saw some.
You have a
Yeah, I
contact
did
now.
actually. I did.
It was really refreshing, man, to see our linebackers coach call out Devin White, to a certain extent, and not call out, challenge.
Do it right, but
Yeah.
but say what needs to be said. Don't
And
pretend.
challenge them. Same thing with Antoine Winfield. Nobody can sit here and complain about Antoine Winfield's play, but they went out and fucking said no. He should have 6 or 7 interceptions every year. And they challenged Vita Vea. All the leaders, the young leaders on the team, like Vita should have. The baseline should be 4. He should be getting.
Well, and this
6, 7,
this
8,
goes back to
9,000.
what I was going to say earlier when we were talking about Rashad White, is that when he said, I'm going to come in here to be the starting running back, that mindset feels like the opposite of what Ryan Tannehill said the other day.
Yeah.
When he's that, and I know, no, that's a different thing, but here's what I hear when I'm a veteran player. And again, Malik Willis didn't say anything. He wasn't the one that brought this up, but if I'm Leonard Fournette and I see a rookie come in and say, I'm coming for your job, I want you to say that. I don't want you to come in here and be all like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Fournette. It's so nice to meet you." Nah, but like if I go down, your ass is going to be in it, and I need you to be at my level. So
Luke,
I'm going to
we just got rid of a running back that had confidence problems, didn't we? We want the guy to come in here. Yeah.
I want that guy. If I'm the guy whose job he's coming for, that's fine with me. I'm not afraid. Like I'm not impacted by it. And maybe Tannehill's a bad comparison because it's not the same thing. It's a different conversation because you're talking about a quarterback. And if I were Tannehill and I felt like we were real close in the playoffs, and then you go trade away my best receiver and spend a 3rd round pick on a future quarterback when we didn't have a 2nd round pick, I might be pissed too. But if I'm Fournette and I hear that guy saying, "Hey, I'm coming for your job," I'd be like, "Let's go. Let's come and get it." Like, I love that.
The thing that they're doing too is they're bringing in guys that are just going to push the younger guys who are already here as starters. They're just going to make them better. Why not? Like when you bring Keanu Neal, that guy, I mean, he wants to be a starter. Whether he's going to be a rotational guy, whether he is a starter, will that make Mike Edwards try harder and push
Right,
himself
and he knows
harder?
that. He knew that before he signed, right? He knows
all
what's
that
happening.
stuff. But not only does it give you flexibility, but now it pushes everybody to try harder and be better. And then on top of that, when you're talking about the coaches, man, I think the number one thing that I've noticed change from when we had Cutter to when we have Bruce is that Bruce has actually brought in, not only are they good coaches, but they're good teachers. And you can tell by the way they answer questions behind the podium. They know what they're talking about, and that you can tell they can communicate that stuff to their younger guys. They can teach them. They are good teachers. They're making themselves very, very good coaches, which, I mean, these guys are going to be assistant coaches and possibly head coaches for years to come. And we're seeing it with Todd Bowles, and not only Todd, Byron's going to be a head coach. These positional coaches in the secondary, they're going to be
Mike Caldwell just got a DC job.
They're going to be defensive. They're going to be defensive coordinators.
What BA has done with this staff has been amazing, man. Our wide receivers coach Luke, forgive me,
Kevin Garver.
But I know Scott talked about it where Bruce was literally having him every week come up with a game plan not alongside on his own game plan alongside Byron Leftwich, and then they would go over it. BA would go over it with him, like, yeah, that's what I would have done, or no, do that. Like he's just grooming. It's just what they've done is incredible.
Succession, baby.
Succession. It's been fucking awesome to see those press conferences. I'm excited about the challenges that the coaches have given to their positions, and the way this season ended. Right, like I'm fucking excited to see this defense this year, bro. This defense is fucking pissed.
I was gonna say
they were the last ones on the field.
They better be Ray Lewis pissed off for greatness.
They are
this year, baby.
Hot.
We were banged up. We limped to the finish line. Luke, before I forget, man, you keep bringing it up, and so I really want to touch on it. There was a theme for this draft. If there's been a shortcoming in the Bruce Arians era, it's been special teams. Our special teams hasn't been good. It just hasn't. In coverage, inconsistency at kicker, the punt, inconsistency at punting. The guys that we drafted,
kicking the damn ball out of bounds,
kicking the ball
on kickoffs, like what?
Right,
at the worst possible times.
We drafted some special teams kind of guys, right? Both these tight ends look like they're special teams guys. Obviously, we drafted a punter. You got a third string running back who's obviously going to play special teams. The corner you brought up is a special teams guy. One guy we haven't talked about yet, and really nobody's talking about him, is the defensive end from LSU, Andre, and I know he was injured. What's your breakdown on him?
Who?
So a few things. We'll go positive
Andre
first.
Anthony, our 7th round pick.
Yep. So I mean, 6'3", 250, 260. He's got the prototype for this defense to play edge. He's at LSU, so he's got to be an athlete. And again, he did miss the most of the season with the injury, but before he did, he had 3.5 sacks in 3 games. So,
wow.
And the flip side of that is maybe the worst game he had was against Central Michigan. And do you want to know who was blocking him? Luke Gadecki.
Isn't that who he got hurt playing against?
It may have been. I
think I read that.
So Luke Gadecki played his ass off in that game, and they dominated. Again, Bernard Raymond, who was the left tackle, went to the Colts in the 3rd round, which I thought was interesting because he was a lot of people had him like late 1st round, and Gadecki ends up going ahead of him. I thought that was cool. But yeah, Andre Anthony is the guy who can obviously get after the passer. He's a good athlete. You worry about the injury. The thing that gets me about him is he'll be 26 in November.
Damn.
Which is, I mean, that's really the thing that I'm just like, how you like 7th round guys are usually high upside, developmental type of guy. It's going to be difficult, I feel like, to stash a guy who's 25, 26 on the practice squad and think you can develop him because by the time, that happens, you don't know how that's going to go. But obviously, you're pulling for the guy, right? Because you go through those injuries, all of those reasons why you shouldn't succeed. And obviously, he's here, and we saw the video of him getting the phone call from Jason. Obviously, it means so much to him to get this chance. And honestly, look at the depth chart there. I mean, you got Nelson on your last year of his rookie deal. You got JPP gone, like we said. So you got JTS moving up. After that, it's Cam Gill. Not much in the future beyond your starters, really, in terms of Nelson and everybody else. So I feel like everything's there for the guy if he can stay healthy and be the type of player that LSU probably recruited when he was, coming out of high school. Maybe there's something special to it. But again, it's 7th round picks are the most lottery ticket of any of those picks, and you're trying to take advantage. Everything's low risk at that point, so you're just looking for the highest reward possible. And so why not go get a pass rusher who at one point was probably a really high recruit coming to LSU and hope he can get healthy and be the guy that had a sack plus per game before he got hurt last year.
Confirmed. Luke says he's the next Tom Brady on defense, pass rush.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard too.
Lottery ticket. We're going to cash our fucking ticket. Let's go.
We got the next Levante David and
the
next Levante.
Yeah.
Takes. Holy shit, Luke. I mean, listen, before we close the show out, Luke, what score or grade do you give the Bucs overall for this draft in terms of the needs, how their players that they picked fit the scheme and fit the actual team itself, and kind of looking towards the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's really what I said earlier. I go back to what I wrote that night after the draft ended, and I gave them what I gave the Logan Hall pick. I gave them a B+ because I saved those A's for teams that I feel like really stole a lot of players at every pick and didn't just fill needs, but got really great value. And feels like every time they were picking, I was like, damn it, they got him too. What the heck? Like, there's a couple teams that did that.
The Giants,
right below that were the Bucs getting a B+, because again, you're hitting every need. You're hitting on guys that are going to make enough of an immediate impact because of how talented they are, but also have a ton of room to grow. And those guys that's not easy to find. Usually you get one or the other. You get a prospect who is, the difference between maybe Aiden Hutchinson and a guy like Trayvon Walker. Aiden Hutchinson is a pre-made, ready-made 10-sack, can do everything at a high level defensive end. You don't know if he's ever going to be better than that, though. Like, and when he gets to the next level, how much better can he get than he already is, which is why Trayvon Walker goes number 1, because you look at his athleticism, you look at all those things around him, and you're like, man, he hasn't even touched what he can be, and he's already pretty good. So I feel like it's hard to find guys that are polished enough to come in and make an impact immediately for a team that's obviously ready to contend for a Super Bowl again, while also having a really high ceiling. And if you look at all these picks, man, that's what I see. I see guys like, again, we mentioned it with Rachaad White. Right away, what does he do? Right away, he becomes that quintessential Tom Brady, 3rd down, catch the ball out of the backfield and make plays that way. Year or 2 down the line, again, Lenny's contract's basically a 2-year guaranteed, 3-year total. He could be, if he's in his 3rd year of his rookie contract, Rachaad White, he's ready to be that next guy. He can be that 3-down guy. So we talk about, who is the guy now, and a lot of NFL front offices project 3 years out, right? Who can this guy be in 3 years? All of these guys that they picked are going to make an impact rotationally in some way this year, I think, and have a very, very bright future, a very high ceiling to become quality starters for this team to keep that window open. Stank, you were talking about how we're going to go back to the dark days of 0-26. This is the kind of drafting that prevents that for generations. Is continuing to lay the foundation underneath those guys as they progress. You keep who you can. You let go who you have to, and make sure you have somebody to keep slotting in underneath at all of those needs. I feel like they hit all of those with all of their picks, and I was pretty happy with it.
Awesome. Not just that, Luke, but it's also you mentioned it earlier, that word, and we talked about it the night that Bruce retired on a Twitter space. It's the succession, right? This coaching staff. I mean, you're preparing guys just like the players. They're preparing guys behind the scenes. It's just I feel really good about where this team's going to be with Tom Brady this year. I feel really good about where we're going to be after. It's just a solid fucking team.
That's what good teams do,
and a
bro.
run organization.
Yeah.
Fucking shit. Okay, we're good. This is some playoff hockey, boys. I can't sit still in my fucking chair, Luke.
I know. I'm trying so hard. It's like right off.
We're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna take one call from Tom in Michigan. Let Tom make us all fucking laugh.
Yeah, Tom does his thing. We don't have to talk.
I don't think you know who Tom in Michigan is, Luke. You're gonna need to focus and pay attention because this guy's gonna blow your mind. Tom in Michigan.
He's a Romy. If you remember the Romies.
Yeah, of course.
Good evening, peeps. How you doing?
What's up, Tom?
What's up, Tom?
What's up, Tom?
Sounds like Bender too, by the way. Go ahead, Tom.
Awesome. Hey, it's Luke, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Awesome. Hey, I got a question for you, real quick. Hey, when they traded with Jacksonville and they took the first pick in the second round, and they had 24 hours to wait for that pick, how many calls do you think they took from other teams to get a pick?
I think they got a lot, probably double digits. But the important thing to remember is calls versus offers. So I think a lot of teams called them and were like, hey, what are you thinking? You like your guy here? Or, we're down at, again, and sometimes you're going to get calls from, again, you've already traded down 6 spots. And they said, Jason said this, or Todd, I can't remember who it was. We were like 5 guys there at 27 we really liked. We felt comfortable trading back to 27, knowing that one of them was probably going to be there. One of them was, and it just happened to be Logan Hall. I'm not sure how much I believe that that's exactly how it went down, but basically that's probably how it went. So,
Luke, I appreciate if you don't call my best friend a liar. Go ahead.
he can let me know. That's fine.
I mean,
it's
Luke, listen. If he didn't need any more inflation in his head when he called him Godfather last year, this year when he found out that they both had they both shared their favorite TV show, and he looked at him and said,
"It's over."
No, he said, "Sammer, we're pretty much the same human being."
No, he said, "Sammer, we're the same fucking person."
Same person.
Oh, we're the same fucking person.
So really,
not only did we have
Luke.
Not only do you have the same favorite show, we had the same favorite episode of that show. Diversity Day, The Office. Go ahead.
Luke, like every romantic comedy where it just gets weird and awkward, where nobody else is in the room except for the two, and they're just vibing back and forth with each other. And then Jason Light punches me in the chest, bro. It was the greatest night of Sammer's life, honestly.
For some reason, when they interact with each other, it's like the lights dim.
Yep.
Nobody else is in the room.
The disco ball in the middle.
I just hear in the background, and I'm never gonna dance again.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty feet have got no rhythm.
Every time.
Listen, I'm not.
Tom, back to your question.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
But you guys are placeholders until Jason retires, because then it's gonna be loose cannon, just Sam.
Okay, let him answer his question.
Go ahead, Luke. Go ahead and answer Tom's
we have
question.
time now. The period's over, Luke. We're good.
That's true. That's true. But that's basically what it boils down to. Is I'm sure he got plenty of calls. Again, probably double digits in teams trying to see what he wanted to come down. But again, you've already moved down 6 picks. You're not going to go down much further. You don't want to go much further than that, because then you're going to lose out on that next tier of guys after you've missed out on all the top elite prospects. So if you've got teams calling you at 48 and 51, you're not thanks but no thanks. I don't want to go down that far. It's not worth whatever picks you're going to give me to get out of the range where the first player I'm going to draft isn't a guy that I think is going to make me happy as the kind of figurehead of our draft class, right? So unless they were getting a really, really great deal, I don't think they were coming off of that pick. And that's obviously what happened.
Gotcha. Hey, I wanted you to know, do you see how excited London was to be drafted by Atlanta? He looked like that battered wife in a family portrait crying for help. And Carolina drafted an offensive lineman. My God, he looked like he was on Maury finding out he was the father. And now for the Lions, you see Aiden Hutchinson? Yeah, smiling on the outside, crying on the inside. And Javon Williams, he looked like he was, I don't know. He just looked like he was beat. Hey, you guys want to see the dysfunctional? Wait till you see the hard knocks with the Lions this year. I got stories I could tell for hours. But hey, fuck the Rams, fuck the Saints, go Bucs.
There you go, Tom in
Beautiful.
fucking Michigan.
Fucking love it. You
dude.
left one out. Did you see? I'm sure Luke saw because he does all the draft stuff. But did you see Jameson Williams at his press
Oh
conference?
no!
Oh, the jersey was like.
Dude.
He looked like Warren Sapp with the Bucs
That's
hat.
literally the comparison I was going to make. Like that's
Holy
exactly what Warren looked like for 48 hours after he got drafted. And here's what I'll say about Jameson Williams. He looked like, again, right after the draft, it looked like not only was he going to the Lions, and obviously they're not a great team, not a lot of history, whatever it may be, not a great quarterback. I think he honestly was shocked because I don't know how much communication they had before the draft. He looked like his demeanor was like, I did not mentally prepare myself for the possibility
somewhere else. Yep.
that the Detroit Lions were even in the conversation at all. Because if they were, I feel like you've got a few weeks where you kind of have like an idea, oh, this team likes me a lot. This team came, brought me in for this visit and did all these things. I did whiteboard work and all this stuff. Like, I feel like these 5 or 6 teams are probably where I'm going. And he was probably glad, if that's the case, that the Lions maybe did. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that's the case.
Were
I don't know
you
if they did or
shocked?
not.
Were you shocked?
Twitter,
But he
that's some
looked
Twitter
like the kind of
TMZ
player
shit,
who was like,
because at the draft after he got picked, he was celebrating like a motherfucker. So I think it was
but
one of those bad photos.
it's also a really long weekend, man. He probably just needs a nap.
It didn't make it any better that the guy standing next to him had this big fucking goofy smile, like his first time going to fucking Disney World, because he's playing for his home team. He's staying there in Michigan. It's like it's his fucking dream come true. And then you got the guy's like, what
were you shocked at that, Luke?
Do they even
I mean, we did a
quarterback?
Draft-A-Thon show live, and when they
Pleasantly,
traded up, we're like, this is a quarterback. This is a quarterback. Holy shit!
Yeah.
They traded all the way. He's not going to play till Thanksgiving. I heard. Like, what?
I mean, if he's not hurt, he's wide receiver 1 easy in this class.
Really?
So they looked at it and said, we're not going to let him get to Green Bay. I still can't believe they traded with Minnesota. Minnesota's draft was weird as hell.
Yeah,
But
we'll
I love
talk
the
about
move.
that off the
It's
air.
bold. Go get your guy. Go get you a weapon. Go get you the wide receiver that you want. And especially when you can get it for what they paid. I mean, that was ridiculous. They went up 20 spots in the first round and basically gave up a 3. Like,
yeah, but he's useless if you don't have someone to throw him the ball.
it was weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but they'll get that guy next year.
They'll have him for 5 years. Yeah, they'll get that guy next year. Luke, you're the draft guy. I keep hearing this, kicked around, and we're talking about wide receivers. Drake London, great kid. I like him. No, I'm not criticizing him. But can we stop saying he's the next Mike Evans? He's not Mike Evans. There's only one Mike Evans. He's about 20 pounds lighter than Mike Evans.
It's because he kind of
2
looks
inches
like
shorter.
Mike Evans a little bit.
He's 2 inches shorter than Mike Evans. I get it. He kind of looks at him, but he's not Mike Evans. Let's stop with the disrespect, please.
Listen, this is why I avoid pro comparisons.
Comps, yeah.
For the most part, like, unless one really just jumps out at me. Again, one of them this year was Rashad White and Le'Veon Bell. I couldn't help it.
And Zion and
just,
Levante David. Yeah.
It just jumps out at you and says, that's what, yeah, obviously. That's the same exact career. He's actually going to move to linebacker and play linebacker when Levante leaves. That's what's
and our
gonna
7th
happen.
round pick becoming a beast, double-digit sacker every year.
Yes, absolutely.
Like Shaq Barrett.
But that's what I'm talking about is that I completely lost my train of thought because you just
You're talking about Drake London, Mike Evans.
Drake London, Mike Evans is like, again, you can't put those comparisons on guys because it just you see like one or two markers that work and you're like, oh yeah, that's that guy. And it's like, come on, like, do I think that the Atlanta Falcons are really tired of Mike Evans dominating them? So they went and said, please find us the closest possible thing in this draft class to Mike Evans. And Drake London is probably as close as you can get. So you go get that guy and hope he can be the guy. I think Drake London is pretty good. Is he top 10, number 8 overall in this wide receiver class? Good? Not in my opinion. But again, great kid, good player. But I just don't, if that's what you're expecting, if you're expecting a Hall of Famer, which obviously Mike Evans is, that's a tall task for my guy. And again, they better get the quarterback situation figured out. I like Desmond Ridder a good bit, but he's not going to be Mike Evans right away. Although Mike was Mike Evans with Josh McCown and Mike Glennon. So
with everyone,
yeah.
I'm going to say it right now. They may have drafted him because they got tired of Mike Evans toasting them. Mike Evans will continue to toast them. And those are the receivers that CD and Dean excel against. He will not do shit again. I'm not saying they're going to completely shut him out, but he's not going to dominate or do anything of relevance against us, at least not with our corners. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Luke, you told us that we have the next Tom Brady, that we have the next Levante David on our team. Amazing breakdown.
Clip that.
I'm going to. Can you just let people know where they can find your stuff and read all this amazing fucking knowledge that you have that we do not?
I mean, on Twitter, I keep it pretty simple. It's at Luke Easterling, nice and easy. And then for the Bucs stuff, it's bucswire.usatoday.com, draftwire.usatoday.com for every other fan of every other team. If you just want to see what's going on throughout the rest of the league from a draft perspective, and just looking ahead, we're already doing mock drafts and watch lists and all that stuff, film room stuff for college prospects for next year, looking at the top guys that we're looking ahead to for the next class. So yeah, man, that's it. This is always a good time. I love coming on this show and not, you go on the radio shows and do all this stuff and that's fun in a certain way, but this show has a unique flavor to it and I love it.
Yeah. And listen, Luke isn't with the fuckery people. All right. He will ban you, he'll mute you, he'll do all those things. I've been muted for years.
It is personal. I just want to
it's
absolutely personal. It doesn't bother me.
Personal.
Like it's like whatever. I don't care. But like it's because I don't like you as and what you believe in. Like if I have to block you, it's absolutely personal. It's
because you're a bad person.
It really is. Like that's. I want you to be better though. Like I want you to be better, but you're gonna have to get better over there.
Muted again.
You're gonna have to get better over
there. You're
there.
gonna get remuted for being an idiot, bro.
You probably got muted.
Just wait, bro. One day I'm gonna have the mute button. It's over for you.
I feel like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Wow. All right. That's how many guests has that been that just rip on Stank when they come on?
Listen. Look. You had him muted, right, or blocked or whatever it was, Stanker, because he's the village idiot. You're in.
Yep.
How dumb? Hey,
calm down.
How fucked up do you have to be to get unfollowed by Mama Arians, bro?
Oh God, dude.
Like that's a true story. We're all he's like, she stopped.
That's honestly one of my favorite. I've said this before. One of my favorite things is if I like tweet some sort of like smart ass comment about what I think is happening behind the scenes that has anything to do with BA, and she likes it, and I'm just like, that's all I needed.
It honestly made me feel better, bro, because now as soon as she followed me, I actually got worried. I'm like,
yeah, you start getting concerned. You're like,
I gotta be like, I can't
say this.
I can't say this.
Yeah, but I say tons of crazy
Arians
shit.
Is watching.
And
she's also been married to Bruce Arians for so many years.
Yeah, Jake said she's the worst one. She's got the worst mouth of all.
But
I think
that does not shock me.
I don't think it's a crew thing. I think it's an IQ thing. And at that point, she's just like, I am getting dumber having followed this individual. I have to remove this.
Fuck.
I have to remove the stupidity from my timeline. And that's all it is.
Like I'm getting dumber.
That's why Luke muted you. Luke is doing a show where you are a host, but you are muted on his timeline. Think about that.
I don't even remember.
The best thing is I know I'm muted, but I still comment on his tweets.
And Luke, I'm gonna embarrass Stank right now, Luke.
Everybody in the chat, give me the shush emoji because Stank is muted.
And Luke, listen, I'm gonna embarrass Stank now. All right, we've had you on the show 3 times. This is your 3rd time. The other 2 times, Stank
this was never supposed to happen, by the way.
Has purposely missed the show.
No, it was not purposely. Never purposely.
He was the guest. I'm not coming.
No, yeah, he was afraid.
That's untrue.
He thought you hated
He muted me. He muted me.
He thought you hated him. He would cry to us. He'd be like, "How was that show with that guy?" I was like, "Pretty good, actually."
Whatever.
Like, yeah, whatever.
I used to listen to Luke on the radio here. I follow Luke.
Yeah, and that's why it hurt you so deeply that he muted you.
Nah,
Luke,
I wasn't hurt. I knew eventually I'd have the opportunity.
I'm doing it right now. I'm gonna unmute him right now.
No, Luke. Keep it going.
Keep it muted, bro.
I at least have to go confirm this because I literally don't remember doing.
I'm sure I said so. I say stupid shit all the time.
I have unfollowed you. There are moments. There are moments throughout the season where I unfollow Stank.
And not only that, Luke, I probably spammed your wall with so much shit. One time you're like, I'm tired as fucking seeing this guy.
Maybe I unfollowed you because it says I don't follow you. But look, I mean, right there. Look, it's not muted. It's right
I'm just
there.
a follow, bro.
You're not muted.
Maybe all the times I've commented on your tweets, you're like, that's stupid. There's really nothing I can say.
Well, don't worry, Luke. I just muted him for you one more time before we end the show.
Fucking amazing.
Luke, thanks for hanging out. Everyone out there, if this is your first time watching us, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, show us some love. We will see you guys next week before the NFL drops the Buccaneers 2022 schedule. We're going to fucking go through it when it happens, and we're going to probably...
We're going to be climaxing at the same time, all of us, like together.
We're going to be on before the actual...
Oh, edging.
We're going to build to the climax.
We've already started Edge, actually.
To the apex of that beautiful schedule release orgasm, and then we're going to possibly release where we will be traveling with the Loose Cannons travel crew. If you do not know about that, please go to loosecannonstravel.com. Sign up, be on the newsletter. You'll be the first people to know where we're going for 2022 and what we have in store because we have some fucking gigantic surprises this year and way more affordable, but still very VIP packages coming. Luke, you got to come with us on one of these trips, man. They're going to be fucking awesome. Listen, those of you who came with us, you guys tell people how awesome it was. We don't have to say it. We don't have to do that.
Oh, listen, all you need to know is this. Jason Light, the general manager of our team, Luke,
my best
challenged Stank Bastard to a steel cage match at one of our trips.
He did.
And we were going to eat chicken wings and have sauce all over us to down our elbows and have some beer.
Fucking COVID ruined it.
COVID protocols kicked in.
Ruined it.
Yeah, but did Jason Light mute him on Twitter?
No.
He doesn't know who he is.
Yes, he does. He follows me.
I introduced you to him just the other day.
I didn't.
Of the Bucs Twitter.
He beat me to it then. He beat me to it.
Yeah.
All right, Luke, thank you so much. Everybody out there, let's get the deuces and the emoji.
Whoa, what's going on? Is that a ref on a stretcher? What the hell's going on?
I don't
Is
know.
that a coach?
All right, go
That's
Bolts.
a coach, dude.
Go Bolts, go Bucks.
Go Bulls.
Bolts.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Number one bullshit, baby.
See you guys later.